New in the last 5 minutes, UK attack, US expel 60 Russian diplomats, 14 EU nations also taking action. US expel 60 Russian diplomats, will close Seattle consulate in the last 10 minutes. France and Germany expel Russian diplomats. USA expels Russian diplomats, invites Albania to do the same. Germany expels 4 Russian diplomats over Salisbury incident. US expels 60 Russia diplomats, shuts consulate. EU also acts France to expel 4 Russian diplomats over Salisbury attack. Netherlands to expel 2 Russian diplomats over Salisbury poisoning. US to expel 60 Russians, close Seattle consulate. EU coordinates expulsions of Russian diplomats. Trump expels 60 Russian diplomats in wake of UK nerve agent attack. Ukraine to expel 13 Russian diplomats over Skripal case. US to expel 60 Russian diplomats over spy poisoning. Trump said to expel 60 Russian diplomats, close consulate in the last 15 minutes. Italy expels 2 Russian diplomats along with EU allies. Germany expels 4 Russian diplomats after UK chemical attack. Lithuania expels 3 Russian diplomats over UK nerve agent attack. Czechs expel 3 Russian diplomats after UK chemical attack. Latvia expels Russian diplomat after UK nerve agent attack. US expels 60 Russian diplomats, to close Seattle consulate in the last half hour. Washington expels 60 Russian diplomats. Trump expels 60 Russian diplomats after British nerve agent attack. US announces expulsion of 60 Russian diplomats. Donald Trump expels 60 Russian diplomats from US amid poisoned spyro. Trump expels 60 Russian diplomats. France to expel 4 Russian diplomats over Salisbury attack. Source: 14 member nations expel Russian diplomatic staff over poisoning of ex-spy. US expels 60 Russian diplomats, orders closure of Seattle consulate. Trump expels 60 Russian diplomats in response to ex-spy poisoning. US and EU nations expel Russian diplomats over Skripal. Trump admin expels 60 Russian diplomats, closes Seattle consulate. Donald Trump to expel 60 Russian intelligence officers. US and EU countries expel Russian diplomats in coordinated response. Trump orders expulsion of 60 Russian intel officers. US to expel 60 Russian officials in response to spy poisoning. Breaking: 14 EU states expel Russian diplomats over UK spy attack. Trump expels Russian diplomats over attack on ex-spy in UK. Baltics: Poland may expel Russian diplomats, reports. European nations expel Russian diplomats after ex-spy poisoning. Donald Trump expels 60 Russian diplomats over Salisbury spy attack. Trump expels 60 Russian diplomats from the US. US expels 60 Russian diplomats, shutters Seattle consulate. US expels 60 Russian diplomats, closes Seattle consulate. US expels 60 Russian diplomats. What we know: Trump to expel 60 Russian intelligence officers. Germany, other countries expel Russian diplomats over Skripal poisoning. US expels 60 Russian diplomats. US expels 60 Russian diplomats in response to nerve agent attack. Trump expelling 60 Russian diplomats in wake of UK nerve agent attack. US expels 60 Russian intelligence officers. US kicks out 60 Russian diplomats over spy case in the last hour. Trump expels 60 Russian diplomats from the US over spy poisoning. US expels 60 Russian diplomats, shutters Seattle consulate. US to expel Russian intel officers in response to spy poisoning. Trump expels 60 Russian diplomats. EU announces coordinated actions. US expels 60 Russian diplomats in response to attack on ex-spy in Britain. Breaking: Poland to expel 4 Russian diplomats. Trump kicks out 60 Russian spies in response to nerve gas attack. Trump expels 60 Russian officials over nerve agent attack in Britain. Trump orders expulsion of 60 Russian intelligence officials from US. Trump to expel dozens of Russians over UK poisoning. US to expel 60 Russian diplomats. Germany expels 4 Russian diplomats over Skripal poisoning. The latest: Lithuania poised to expel Russian diplomats. US expelling 60 Russian diplomats, closing Seattle consulate. Live: Trump and EU in mass expulsion of Russians. 14 EU members expel Russian diplomats over Skripal case. Tusk: Trump expels 60 Russians for poisoning of ex-spy.